Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to talk about how to build combinations. Now combinations are something that we all strive for sparring. The whole purpose of a combination is to try to overwhelm your opponent or to trick your opponent so that you can score or land a technique on them. Now, most people say combinations are 3 or more techniques, and that's true. When it comes to pulling through McDonald's and you order a number 1, it's 3 things: a burger, fries, and a shake. So that's essentially a combination. It's a combination of 3 different things. All right, so what we're going to talk about today is stacking it up and building combos that works for us. Now, what you have to understand is that all of our techniques are broken into 4 categories. And what I mean by that is the very first category is how do we use our punches to set up another punch. Very important to understand that we have these 4 different areas and we have to master each 4. And then the 5th one, of course, is interchanging within all of them. But how does a punch set up a punch? Or how does a punch set up another hand technique? The second category is how does a punch set up a kick? And so if I'm turning my body and throwing a technique, then what I want to do is I want to be able to do it in a manner that I'm already leading off with the next technique as to go ahead and throw it in a fast combination as to not give it away. All right, so how does a punch set up a kick? Sometimes we might throw a jab so that it puts the weight on the back leg to throw this kick here. So how punch sets up a punch and how punch sets up a kick is very important. The next one is how does a kick set up a punch? And this is where many Taekwondo students fall short. Now what I mean by that is if you're the opponent and I'm sparring and I throw a kick at you and I turn my back slightly, then my fists are now not engaged towards you as my opponent. So many people, when they're throwing kicking combinations, they disengage their hands, or what they do is they put them out of place and then they have to reset the hands into place for them to throw the next technique. An example would be somebody throwing a turning kick, right? And if their hand comes out here, then a lot of times they can either throw it as a hook, a reverse knife hand, a ridge hand, or they have to pull it back into place to be able to punch again. So where would it go so that I'm able to use that one? So maybe the kick comes in, but my fist still points forward. Maybe the person's throwing a spinning technique, and now the hand's totally disengaged. So maybe they might have to block and then re-engage the back hand to throw a punch. So how kicks set up punches is something that you need to think about. Now, of course, the 4th one is how do kicks set up kicks? Primarily, in most of our UTA, most of our schools start sparring at the rank of green belt. Now before that time, we're teaching students how to do all these things like covering and throwing counters and how to throw these combinations. But being mindful of our feet and where we step down can set up the next technique. So if there's an imaginary line between me and you, and I kick and I step over this side of the line, well then obviously it would say that I'm probably going to kick with the back leg, and vice versa. If I kick and step over the line, then the back leg would typically be a spinning kick of some kind. So where that foot placement is very important. Now if I throw 3 movements, 1 and then 2 and then 3, some people would say that's a combination of 3 techniques. I like to look at that as just 3 one techniques. What makes it a combination is the time in between the techniques. These are called gaps or windows, or that time lapse in between. So all I did in those 3 kicks was just throw 1, 1, 1. Essentially that wouldn't be a combination. If I was to do that in a very fast motion, it would be considered a combination only because I'm trying not to be stopped by my opponent. What I like to do as far as combinations is to, within a technique of throwing 3 or 4 techniques, having one of those be a double kick. So if I was looking at this one, the front kick, the turning kick, and then the side kick again, what I may end up doing there is throwing 2 of something. So I might throw the front kick to close the distance. I'd throw a double round kick, 1, 2, and then I would throw the third technique, maybe the side kick. Now that's just speaking with kicking combinations. When we start putting all these things together, how does a kick set up a punch? Well, I engage my hand. A punch can set up a punch, and then of course a punch can set up a kick. So a great combination is, how do we work those? So left, left, right, right. This would be an example of a great combination because it's a flow. All of those are just one technique, but I could throw that double technique in there should I want, all right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6. So my kicks went into doubles. And this right here would be a better combination because I'm throwing more techniques within the same time frame. Every time that you kick and put your leg down, it's going to take time to throw the next kick. Because that time lap is greater between 2 kicks, then you have to fill the gap with the hands. So the hands are very important to act in kicking for making combinations. Now when you're blending all of these techniques together, be mindful of taking only a kick, a single kick, and a single punch, and a single kick. And when you're putting these together, they're kind of still considered 1, 1, 1. If you can do them fast enough, then they're called a combination. Or you want to, within that combination, throw some sort of a double technique in there. So 1, 1, 1, right? Or it could be a 1, 1, 1. I hope this helps in making combinations. What I would like for you to do is to get a piece of paper and write your combo. What do I do? How do I blend a punch to a punch, right? Or a strike to a strike. It could be a punch to a reverse knife hand. It could be a back fist to a punch to a back fist. Okay, how does a hand technique set up a hand technique? Write down your combinations. If you can't come up with one, think and or ask your instructor. Now, write down in your category, how does a punch set up a kick? How does a kick set up a punch? And then how does a kick set up a kick? Your goal is to first come up with 3 variations of each of those. Once you come up with 3 variations of each of those, then the challenge is to add multiple of those. Those 4 categories are going to help you stay blended in making your combinations. But keep in mind, combinations, if they're singles, they have to be fast mixed together. Or if they're not fast, you have to take and put a double technique or a triple technique in there. So a low, high, low followed with a 2-hand techniques, or 2-hand techniques followed with a low, high, low would be considered a better combination than just throwing 3 single kicks. All right. I hope this helps you guys out. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. If you like our content, please press like and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you can keep up with all of our next training videos. Thank you.